Hello world, this is my second YouTube video. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about clarity. So recently, or in the last 2 weeks, I've had the urge to be decisive about something. It's been stuck in my mind. It's a situation in my life where I needed to have quite a difficult conversation. Something that in the past I've always really put off and hoped that it will just resolve itself without my input. But I got 3 clear messages to be decisive about this situation. The first came from these cards. These are Diana Cooper's angel cards. So they basically are a way of communicating or hearing messages from your higher conscience. So you pick 3 cards yourself after meditating on them for a little bit, and they will give you some great insight. So they work in a way that you have your first card relates to past, middle, present and third, future. My third was clarity, which I kind of made me think, oh yeah, I do kind of need to clear up that element or situation in my life that's a bit foggy at the moment. So that was the first sign that came to me. Secondly was I went into work and I was called in to speak to the accountant, a guy called Nigel, who I really like, who's a great spiritual master as well. And he gave me this book, Clarity, once again. Very quick read, brilliant actually, and I'll just, I don't know if you can screenshot this or whether it'll be the wrong way round. Flip it, reverse it, if you wanted a copy. It's really summed up, again, this importance of being decisive. And then the third sign that came to me was from another Diana Cooper book, on the laws of spirituality, spiritual laws. There's 36 spiritual laws in here, and it was recommended by a friend of mine, an incredible tarot reader, and she said, oh, I've gotten a message for you to get this book. So opened at random. What did I open at? The Law of Clarity. Again, so this was when finally something shifted in me and I heard the words I needed to hear. So I'm just going to read to you the page from this book, so that if there's any messages in there that somebody else could get from this, that's great. So the Law of Clarity. When you are totally clear about what you want, everyone picks up your message accurately and responds accordingly. A young man I know called John managed to string out a relationship with his girlfriend for a long, painful time by giving her mixed messages. He would turn up to see her saying he just wanted to be friends, then he would stay the night. If she needed him to help with her children or round the house, he simply could not say no. He would say to all his friends, but I've made it perfectly clear that I'm not interested. They all told him, and he was sending mixed messages. It certainly was not clear to Anita. She absolutely adored him, and she was ready to read that he loved her into everything he did and said. It took over a year for her to realise that he did not want a committed relationship with her. She suffered a year of anxiety in pull and push, on and off situation, which really knocked her confidence. And then she still had to go through the grief of separation. During that time, her psychic energy was tied up in worry, false expectations and anger. His energy was tied up in anxiety and guilt. A lack of clarity ties up psychic energy and keeps you in confusion. Clarity frees you to move forward and open new doors. Paul had lived with Janine for years. At first they had been very close, but for the past 2 years he had felt quite alienated from her. He was seeing someone else with whom he was very much in love. Jean suspected this and raged at him constantly. He wanted to leave her, but he simply could not tell her the truth. He told me that he could not bring himself to tell Jean that he did not love her anymore. The result was that Paul, Jean, and his new lady were metaphorically living in a muddy pond, and no one could see a way out. The future was full of confusion. It was only when Paul took a decision to move out, no matter what the consequences, that clarity became possible. Jean at last knew where she stood. She changed her job and met a new man. Paul felt free at last and able to breathe for himself. He decided to live alone and give himself space to find out who he was again. His lover gave him the space he needed, and the result was that he freed her energy to focus on her studies. Clear decisions move you from stuckness to freedom. When we are worrying and our thoughts are going round and round in circles, imagining every possible outcome, we are in the dark. Imagine there is a light which switches on over your head when you are ready to do something. If you are considering starting a business, while you are still examining the possibilities, the light is off. As soon as you are clear that you will do it, you say, "This is the business I intend to start." The light is over your head switches on. The moment you make a clear decision, a light goes on over your head. The powers that be in the universe see this light and align behind you to manifest your vision. I hope you found some guidance in these words. I certainly did. And anything that is difficult to say, find your inner strength and your truth. Be decisive, be strong, and the next door will open for you. That's my message today. Thank you for listening. Peace and love.